So, without further ado, let's get started. First off, congratulations, you've officially finished learning everything in this book. Now, you may still be confused about some of the topics or even all of them, and that's alright. Even if some parts of the lessons were hard to understand, try to use what you do understand. Once you're more comfortable with using Scratch, you can start exploring all of the other blocks. And just know that this might be a long process, and along the way, it's going to be hard, it'll be confusing, and it might even be frustrating. However, running into problems and setbacks can actually help you better understand a concept once you finally solve the issue. And I know for a fact that you have an amazing gift for ingenuity. All it takes is some effort and some creativity to make a program work as you imagined it in your head. Sometimes that might be learning about a new block that you don't understand. Other times, it might be combining a bunch of blocks to do something completely new. And if there's something you can imagine, I can guarantee that you can create it somewhere. Now, remember, if you ever run into problems, the Scratch community is an amazing resource. Exploring the code of similar projects can help you understand different ways to use code to achieve a unique goal. Other tutorials online and from Scratch itself can also be great ways to understand a more specific concept. The purpose of this book was not to spoon-feed you code blocks for you to copy. The idea behind all of the lessons was for you to gain a broader understanding of Scratch and coding. Even if you didn't understand a certain section, the goal of the book was to provide you with the skills to experiment on your own and discover the endless possibilities of Scratch. Going forward, your next steps depend on you and how much of each lesson you understood. However, a good starting place for everyone is to start putting the concepts you learned into use. Start with simple programs, using just a few blocks or using just a certain section of blocks. Then slowly make them more complex by using a bunch of blocks together, or by getting blocks from a bunch of different categories and putting them all into one section. And once you think you've reached the limit of what you can do, try to make a project that is just beyond that limit. So for example, if you don't understand loops, try to use one in your next project. And if you do understand loops, maybe try to use loops with an if-then statement. And then if you understand loops and if-then statements, then let's try to use both of those with variables. With every new project that you make, you want to expand the number of blocks that you know how to use, because that will allow you to create projects that get even better. And the best part about coding is that it doesn't matter if you make a mistake. In fact, it's probably a good thing. If you made a mistake, that means you are trying to do something that you don't fully understand yet. And this opens up an opportunity for you to experiment and discover a new understanding of this concept all on your own. The sense of satisfaction you get after solving a problem is the best way to learn and to understand. So, some people may have read this book to learn how to code, and you feel a little disappointed because you weren't typing anything, or you didn't write 1,000 lines of code. But if that's you and you're disappointed, don't be. You have learned about the most important concepts in codings, from variables to loops to if-then statements. Many of the blocks that we covered in this book are the foundational concepts at the heart of any programming language. And in most cases, a programming language is just a different way of putting code together. So instead of blocks, it's words. And it may look different, but it all does the same thing in the end. A conceptual understanding of how coding works and what this book is trying to teach you is going to be get you much further in programming than memorizing all the words or syntax of a certain language. But if you are getting good at coding and you want to learn how to program using a certain language instead of these blocks from scratch, I would say that Python is a great language to get started with. The syntax in Python is much more readable and understandable, especially when you compare it to other languages. And this is going to help you better understand the code on a conceptual level. Furthermore, Python is a diverse programming language with lots of default features and a lot of independent libraries and additions that add even more functionality. And if you're looking for an introductory course to get you into programming, I would recommend Harvard CS50. It is a little more advanced, so you might want to wait until you get a little older, maybe into high school or secondary school, before you take that class. But that said, the course does a great job of breaking down ideas and helping you understand the concepts behind coding. In fact, their first lesson has traditionally been taught using Scratch. So if you're interested, the class is hosted online throughout the year on the platform edX, where it's called CS50X. And I encourage you to keep exploring what you can do with Scratch and with the power of coding. You may not have understood everything, and you may not even have enjoyed learning about certain concepts. However, a knowledge of coding can prove instrumental in the modern age. Programming gives you the ability to understand the world we live in and to contribute to it in a meaningful way. So, keep exploring, keep experimenting, keep learning, keep pushing yourself. If you do, a world of limitless opportunity awaits. Happy coding!